We've had a focus, and again, in reference to your opening statement, about building capacity, improving residential care capacity, increased recruitment for the delivery of residential and special care services. The strategic plan 2022 to 2025 for residential care services spoke about increasing capacity during that period. So my first question is, how have we built capacity, and there was commitments made specifically for voluntary residential services? How many additional beds do we have in voluntary residential services?
Is that a number that we have to hand?
Yeah. I think, Deputy, you referenced the strategic plan that we wrote back in 2022, and in that strategic plan we identified that we would deliver 110 additional residential beds, and none of us could have predicted the, I suppose, significant demand that would have come as a result of global movement and separated children seeking international protection. So in fact, we opened about 60 beds within our mainstream services, and we had to open 71 registered centres. We had over 1,100 children in the care or being accommodated by Tusla just for separated children seeking international protection alone. So the scaling of the capacity had been through mainly our statutory and our private provision. Within the community and voluntary sector, they had very clearly articulated to me back in 2022 that there were three significant factors in terms of preventing them from scaling. The first was issues around sustainability, and with the support of our Minister and Government in 2024, we were able to get an additional 5 million in funding for the community and voluntary sector to be able to support them with sustainability issues. The second related to staffing. They were struggling to recruit staff in the same way that we were. And the third was in relation to capital. They didn't have the ability to invest in infrastructure in terms of opening residential units. So the first step we took is that we've worked in a hybrid way with one community and voluntary provider where we own the building and they run it. So unfortunately, the answer is that the community and voluntary sector have been unable to provide one additional bed for us in terms of residential capacity over that 3-year period.
Okay. And of course, the residential services, given they're voluntary, they're not for profit, they are not going to be in a position to increase capacity themselves unless they're given a building or given money in terms of capital. That is impossible. And for me, what really galls is the fact that we have a falling, reducing number of voluntary services, and the ones I've met have actually been able to retain their staff. They've staff and workers that have been there for 20, 30 years, a wealth of experience. But my concern is we have residential services who are regulated to the hilt, and rightly so. They account for every red cent and they return money where it's not spent. They are fundraising to keep their doors open because they don't have enough money to just run week to week. Yet they are providing an incredible services, and I've been in them, I've visited them, I've seen them, versus millions and millions and millions that are there on hand for unregulated, private, for-profit companies in terms of the SEAs. There's something very wrong there. Now, when you're in crisis is expensive, and that's part of the problem. I absolutely take that. But I think we really need to push the Minister in terms of, ahead of the budget, more funding for our residential services. We should be looking at not-for-profit when it comes to the care of children in our state and the most vulnerable children in our state. So just in terms of the residential, I think we need to be really clear. It's not really that, oh, well, they couldn't build or they couldn't provide X, Y or Z for us. They're not for profit, they're voluntary. They do a really good job, but if they don't have the capital or the buildings there, then they're not going to be able to do that. I mean, that's it. They look for more money to stand still. They don't receive enough to stand still. So it's just important to make that point.
Thank you for watching. Please like and share.